Welcome to Village in Motion this Thursday, October 22nd. It's a pleasure to be with you. I am Clint Lambert, the host today. And the very first guest that we have today is Beverly Strauss from General Services. She's the customer service person, actually the manager for customer service. So we're glad to have Beverly with us. Thank you very much, Beverly.
Thanks, Clint. I'm so glad to be here. Again, I'm Beverly Stouts from General Service. I'm the Customer Service Administrator. I manage a team of 4 General Services coordinators. These people are strong, patient, detail-oriented, service-minded people striving to give you excellent customer service. Weekly, I would say we take in over 600 telephone calls and average perhaps 800 work orders opened every week. These work orders are for maintenance, engineering, grounds, housekeeping, and security, and a bit of preventive maintenance every month. We also manage the census in our work order software along with our corporate partners. Residents can also order extra apartment and mailbox keys by calling the General Services team. We handle the Green Spring guest room reservations and interface with Town Center front desk with those work orders. The General Services coordinators also interface with 3 off-campus vendors whenever our maintenance team can't repair something to the extent that needs to be done. Those may include carpeting that might buckle in high traffic areas during some humid times when it might want to relax. Other items might be windows and screens. That is something beyond what our mechanical crew can repair. And the last one is our weekly visit from Western Pest. The General Services coordinators also implement 3 very important programs through General Services. Those are the reserved emergency pendants that the residents can request, the storage bins that they can rent to put things that perhaps don't fit in your apartment into, and the last program is our reserved parking. We are also in the process of implementing the new vendor registration program. So as you can see, the General Services coordinator, that call center is quite busy weekly. They're a wonderful team, and we encourage you to call in with any concerns and questions. If we don't have the answer, we know who does. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to our General Services Director, Lynn Keefe. Thank you.
Welcome again. This segment of the Village in Motion this morning, where am I? October 22nd. It's Thursday, October 22nd. And this is Village in Motion. I'm Clint Lambert, the host today. And my guest at this point is Lynn Keefe, who is the Director of General Services. And Lynn's going to talk to us today about the new parking policy. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you. Good to be here. So the parking program, we're pleased to roll out. This has really been a significant effort, both with the General Services Resident Council Committee and an ad hoc committee chaired by Earl Williams, and gaining a lot of resident feedback. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, it has.
But it's our attempt to really make the best use of the space that we have.
Yeah. And I think you've done a tremendous job. The only thing is, I'm colorblind.
I hope that your wife will be of some assistance to you. So, you're right. Our new program does have some color to it, and that really is to add additional signage. One of the things we heard from residents was about the program, and then specifically about some of those colors.
Yes.
One of the things we started with was, what do we have and how do we use it?
Right.
And here on campus we have 1,715 parking spaces.
Wow.
Seems like a lot, but we also know we have a lot of folks here, 1,100 staff, 2,000 residents, so it is in short supply.
Right.
But what we found first was 58%, or just over 1,000 of those parking spaces are available only to residents. Now we have just about 700 resident vehicles here on campus, so I can do that math in my head. That leaves about 300 spaces that are over and above what residents use. And that's a good thing, but we wanted to look at how do we best use those. So 23% of the parking spaces, or about 395, are available to employees. So let me talk just a bit about some of the changes, and some of it's just really an education. So the parking garage next to Garden Ridge, we call it the employee deck. It is the only place that employees are allowed to park.
Right.
And we're reinforcing that. We ask residents to make those spaces available just to our employees. That's the only place they should be parking. Within that lot, there are 20 spaces for visitors, and they can park there. Those in particular who may be visiting residents who live either in Garden Ridge, and they're going through that front there of the community building. There are also 5 residents who did have reserved spaces, and we're allowing them to continue as long as they have need, and then those will convert back to employees. So the rest of the lots, visitor parking is primarily in front of community buildings, and the reason being that we want our visitors to sign in at the front desk before they proceed to their destination. Those spaces will be identified with green bars. Right now they have green lines, but most folks don't take note because it's on black asphalt, a little hard to see. We are relocating what folks who currently park in some of those lots are indeed supposed to be in visitor spaces, but they're here quite a bit. They might be an employee of the bank or the pharmacy or private duty aides who are providing service to our resident. So we're asking them to register. And for those folks, there's a $50 annual fee, and we're asking for information so that we can educate them about expectations for our code of conduct, what to do in the case of an emergency, how to utilize our pull cord system, and so that we can get in touch with them here on campus. So once they complete that registration, they are given a hang tag. They'll still be required to show their identification when they come through the gate, but they should then proceed to blue parking spaces. And we've identified blue parking spaces in a few of the resident-only visitor lots. Those lots will have signs. The lots are C, D, G, K, and H. And anywhere from 2 or 3 spaces to as many as 10 or 20, depending on what's available in that lot. And again, these are underused lots. So some residents have said, well, I felt coerced to get a red space. That was not the intent. This is not an opportunity to generate dollars. In fact, we actually reduced the cost of uncovered parking. But we really want to make sure that we're moving some of the regular non-employee folks out of those prime visitor lots into a more central location. So one of the other rumors I heard was it was implied, or they understood the memo to say that we were going to charge regular visitors. We're not charging family members. These are contractors or regular non-employees.
But with family members, though, they can get a special tag.
Correct.
Right?
So while we did eliminate the VIP program, which was a free program, and allowed someone to park in the resident lot, we eliminated that, but most of those folks also had obtained what we call a laser tag, and that's the sticker that goes in your upper left corner of your windshield and allows you to come through the right-hand gate, the resident employee gate. So a resident can still identify up to 2 members of their family who are regular. It's $25, they get that sticker, and then they can also park in the resident-only lots if they have that sticker.
So it's $25 per sticker?
Per sticker, one time only. And we also know that with this comes the need for enforcement. And our security has increased and reallocated some of their staff to better enable them to do that. But we also ask for everyone's assistance. The hang tags that we'll be using from the car rearview mirror for the blue or regular non-employee folks, we will also begin expanding in coming months because it just enhances the ability to see who should be parking there, and you can easily see and contact them. It also has a phone number on there to be able to contact the individual if there's need to.
With that, does the resident have to own the car in order to have a reserved spot? So
in order to have a car on campus, and obtain either the laser tag to come through the resident gate or to have a space, yes, the resident should have a valid driver's license as well as a current registration for their vehicle.
Okay.
And we do try to stay aware of that. On occasion, we find that someone may have given up their vehicle and no longer drive, but allow their family member
Or their
to
aide.
park there, or their aide, and that is not acceptable, and we'll continue to try and eliminate those situations.
Okay. You had mentioned the cost factor in regards to things. With reserve parking, it's $35, is that correct?
It's $34 and change.
Okay.
It's a 15% decrease for a year, and it's $30 for uncovered parking.
Okay.
One of the things that I think folks will also be pleased about, for those folks with reserve parking, when we share the ancillary fees, we are also reducing the cost for those who request snow clearing for their car if
Wonderful.
they have reserve parking. That reserve parking allows us to know where your vehicle's
Right.
going to be, and we'll be able to do that for you.
Super, very good. Other things about the parking that we need to know?
So this goes into effect on November the 1st,
Okay.
which is coming up very quickly.
quickly.
And we know that there will be some bumps along the way. We've had lots and lots of questions. I know you spoke with Beverly, and
Right.
her team has been inundated with questions and concerns, and we understand that parking is very important. They will continue to answer those questions. And if folks have additional things that haven't been answered, please give us a call. The one thing I would add is for folks who are requesting a reserved space since the painting has occurred,
Yes.
it will be a few weeks. It's not something that we're bringing the vendor back right away. We realize we may need to adjust a little bit, and we'll work with you to make sure that your space is available to
So
you.
are you leaving up or putting up a reserve white sign with
We
black lettering?
are, but we realize that, for consistency, we'll want to get that painted, and
Right.
so just bear with us. If you have particular questions, please let us know. And as the program evolves and we learn from it, we'll make adjustments.
And if people want to reserve a spot, whether inside, under the cover or without cover, simply go down to General Services,
They can
right?
certainly stop by T-level of Jackson Court, or start with a phone call if they have some questions.
Okay. And that phone call is number 703-923-4610, right?
Very good. It's the one number everybody knows.
Or you can actually call it by 604-4610.
That's right. Residents calling from their home phones, 604-4610.
Yeah, very good. Any other information about parking?
One additional piece, it's not specific to the program, but it's something that we'll be communicating out in the next several weeks. We do have some additional repair work to do on the employee parking deck, which will displace as many as 80 spaces. So not certainly ideal. We'll be working with staff to look at alternatives both outside the gates as well as within. So again, we ask for your understanding and flexibility, and we'll be working with security, and we'll communicate as clearly as possible. But as always, if you have questions, please let us know.
And so with outside the gate parking, that should decrease over time now that we're going totally to a employee parking only in the parking deck?
We hope that that will be the case. There's certainly times of day where that employee deck fills up, and once we begin our repositioning and we lose some spaces behind Garden Ridge, we'll have additional impact. So much like the rest of the area, parking will always be at a premium.
Right.
We continue to encourage carpooling and use of public transportation. There are some incentives for staff to do that as well. So
Great.
we'll continue to work on that.
Very good. Well, I'm just very pleased, and I know that the other residents are very pleased to have the new plan in place, and we're looking forward to the enforcement.
Well, thank you, and it was great to work with the resident committee. We look forward to the feedback, and thank you for your consideration and working with us as we implement.
Thank you very much, Lynn.
Thank you.
We're back, and our next guest is Vicki Lambert, a very dear friend of mine, who is on with us today to talk about the Resident Life Committee, as well as about the SAF, and I'll let her tell you about that. Vicki?
Well, thank you, Clint. Again, my name is Vicki Lambert. I'm chairman of the Resident Life Committee, and I just briefly want to tell you that the Resident Life Committee is probably the most diverse resident committee on campus. We interface with community resources, Channel 6, pastoral ministries, social work, the wellness center, home support, certified home health, and hospice. And we also this year took on the activities of the Human Resources Committee, so we have representatives from our committee on each of the staff subcommittees out of Human Resources. But what I really want to talk about today, the most important thing that we do all year is our Staff Appreciation Fund Drive. And that is sponsored by the Resident Life Committee. Please understand, this is resident run. It is not staff run. We do have staff support, but it is our drive. And this is to help our staff. And the drive started on October 5th, and it ends on November 13th. If you've made your contribution, we thank you greatly. If you have not, we encourage you to please contribute. But I want to tell you a few things about the fund drive. Our goal this year is to raise $285,000. These donations are not tax deductible, but they are confidential. Keep in mind, this is a gift. We are not allowed to give gifts or to tip our staff. And stop and think, do you think you could make it through 24/7 without staff? I don't think so. Staff interface with every component of our lives as residents. Keep in mind that the Staff Appreciation Fund Drive is only for hourly staff. They are the only ones that are eligible to receive the funds, and you've probably seen some of our staff walking around with this particular button. Now, not all staff who are eligible are wearing theirs, but this gives you an idea of the type of staff that are eligible for the funds. And there are hourly employees in almost every department. We have approximately 950 hourly employees, so that really is a large number. You can make your contribution either by check or by money, and you can put it in the envelope that came with the letter that you received from our committee. If you don't have an envelope, you can certainly stop by Resident Life or any of the community resource offices and get an envelope, and you put it in the slot for Staff Appreciation Fund Drive, which is at each front desk. You can also sign up to have the funds taken out of your, or you can actually sign up to have monies contributed on a monthly basis if you prefer, and this is all year long. So there are a number of ways that you can make a contribution, but keep in mind, this is the only time that we're able to tell our staff how much we really, really appreciate them, and our staff truly appreciate the funds that they receive. In fact, many of the staff who receive funds have indicated that this helps with Christmas gifts for their children, or even just simply making payments that they need to make on a monthly basis. Now, you've probably noticed the gold boxes that sit outside each of the community lobbies, and it looks like a large Christmas gift. There are pictures of our staff on there and comments from our staff about how much they really do appreciate the contributions that they receive. One of the things I also would encourage you to do is to come when the checks are actually distributed to our hourly staff, and that takes place on December 8th from 2 to 4 p.m. in Hunters Crossing Conference Center. At this point, if you notice on our placards that are rotated in and out of our community centers, we're only at 40% so far. So I'm hoping that if you haven't made your contribution, that you do. And people often ask, well, how much should I contribute? That really depends on you and your finances. The big thing is give from your heart. So if you haven't contributed, please do so. If you have, we thank you greatly. Please help us thank our staff for the wonderful things that they do for us. Thank you.
Vicki, before you leave us today, I'd just like to ask a couple of questions just to clarify some things. The fund drive runs until
November 13th.
November 13th.
But if you haven't given money until then, you still can give money.
Yes.
It's just that we have to tell corporate how much money we've raised, and we have a deadline to get into them so that they then can cut the checks and send them back to Green Springs.
Because the money goes to them, they cut the checks,
Right.
they take out the taxes.
Right, they take out the taxes
And
for
then
the staff
then
member.
they send the checks back here, and residents and members of the Resident Life Committee, as well as other residents, assist in handing out those checks.
Correct.
On the
On December 8th
December 8th,
from 2 to 4.
2 to 4 in Hunters Crossing. And that's a really fun thing, folks. If you have not been down to see that, come on down in December 8th from 2 to 4 and just observe how happy the staff is in receiving their checks. I mean, it's really
a wonderful, it really is heartwarming
Yeah.
because it's our only chance to say thank you because we're not allowed to tip.
Right.
And stop and think, if you went to a meal outside, or if you have your hair done, or if you have for women who have their nails done,
Right.
a lot of the activities we have, we tip.
Right.
But we're not allowed to do that here. So
Exactly.
this is our one chance to tip.
Yeah.
So
And yeah.
every dollar counts.
Right.
No matter how large or small, every dollar counts.
And someone pointed out to me the other day to think about the fact if you go out to lunch, you're going to spend at least $20 for a meal around here, or especially in the evening. And if you tip, and the going rate for tipping now is 15 to 20%.
Yeah.
That if you're going to tip for a $20 meal, that's $4 tip. And so we have those kind of meals every day here in regards to it. And so someone said the other day, just think if everybody just gave $1 a day, $365 for the year, how great it would be. And we really would cover the goals by doing that.
And the thing I think that residents need to keep in mind, a lot of the staff that receive these funds, they never see. Think of all the people in the dining rooms who are cooking. Think of the people who clean that you don't see them cleaning, or the grounds people.
Or the maintenance people.
Or the maintenance people who are changing light bulbs and fixing pipes and things. So there are a lot of
rebuilding our HVAC systems, our heating and cooling systems.
Right. So there's a lot of the hourly staff that you do not see. And again, I say, do you really think you could make it 24/7 without staff? Security,
Yeah,
another
right,
one.
yeah.
So please help us thank our staff for everything that they do for us.
Well, Vicki, thank you very much for stressing the fact that all residents need to get involved with the Staff Appreciation Fund.
Right.
And they need to give.
And it's again, it's a resident-run activity.
Yes.
It's not run by our staff. It's run by our residents.
And it's not run by corporate or anyone along those
No,
lines.
it's run by the Resident Life Committee.
And it's residents saying thank you to our staff. And so with that, Vicki, I say thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us today. Don't go away, folks. I'll be right back. Welcome back, folks, to Village in Motion. Today is Thursday, October 22nd. And for this segment of the show, we have the Assistant Rehab Director, Nikki Halton, with us. And we're going to talk about some things about National Memory Week.
That's right.
Welcome, Nikki.
Thank you so much.
Glad to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Every year, the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, or short is AFA, hosts a program nationwide called the National Memory Screening Day.
Okay.
It has become so popular throughout the nation that they have changed it to the National Memory Screening Week.
Takes that long to get everybody screened.
That's right. There's so many people interested.
Wonderful.
And what it is a free, confidential memory test that is given by our rehab staff, our speech language pathologists.
Okay.
It is non-invasive. It is completely confidential, and it is just that. It is a memory screening.
Okay.
It is not a diagnostic tool. People hear Alzheimer's Foundation, oh
Right.
my gosh, I have memory loss, I have Alzheimer's. That's absolutely not the case.
Right.
Memory screening is very important. It's just like your annual health exam, but it's for your brain.
Right.
And so we are offering that here. This has been taking place since 2002 with the AFA, but Greenspring has been a participant for the last 5 years.
Okay.
It is going to be held November 1st through November 7th. That's the week
The very first
designated
First 7 days of November.
of November, absolutely.
Okay.
Our program is going to be run Monday through Friday, so it's the 2nd through the 6th,
Okay.
and it will be held in Hunter's Crossing at the Outpatient Rehab Department. We have certain times. It's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 2 to 4,
Okay.
and on Wednesday from 12 to 3. And you must call to make an appointment to the Outpatient Rehab Department.
And so we call what number?
703-923-4684, or
Okay.
if you're internal, 604-4684. And you just let Erin, our tech, who answers the phone typically, let her know that you're calling for the memory screening.
Okay. Did you get an appointment?
And you get an appointment.
Okay.
There are flyers in every community building, so all the information is there. The most important thing is to know is that memory loss does not necessarily indicate any form of dementia or Alzheimer's. Dementia is an umbrella term that encompasses symptoms,
Right.
including judgment, impairment, impaired language ability, Memory loss is one of them, and then impaired motor skills.
Right.
It's kind of a blanket term. The most common form of dementia is Alzheimer's dementia. Unfortunately, dementia is progressive and irreversible.
Right.
However, by performing a memory screen, we can catch memory deficits early on.
Right.
And so that allows residents to prepare. Memory deficits can be caused by, yes, it can be a factor in dementia. It can mean possible.
Right.
It does not diagnose. But memory loss can also be caused from other sources, such as vitamin deficiency or a thyroid problem, which both can be medically and pharmacologically managed.
Right.
So it's really important to do these screens. We have residents that have come every year. And so they have serial scores to show I'm maintaining my memory, or I've declined a little bit. Let me see what that might mean.
Right.
And so our speech language pathologists, who are experts in memory, will do the test with you, explain what the results mean. If your score is at a certain threshold, they'll say, okay, this looks like you should really have a follow-up with your physician.
Right.
So you make a call to your physician and say, hey, I had the memory screen, and I would like to have a follow-up visit, just to see, is this a normal decline, or is this something going on that we need to take care of?
So if you haven't had one done, it'd be good just to go in and get a baseline, right?
Absolutely. And that's what a lot of the residents have been doing. They
Okay.
come in for a baseline, and then they come in a year later.
Right.
And they say, oh, great, it's
Yeah,
the
it's
same,
the
or
same
it
or
hasn't
yeah.
changed, right? I mean, your memory health, your brain health is as important as your physical
Oh, yes.
health. And there are many things you can do to support it.
Mm-hmm.
So exercise, eating right, keeping active and social,
Right.
doing all of those things maintains your brain health. Being an avid reader, if you're not a social person, being an avid reader. There are memory games on the iPads, on the computers that people can utilize. So it's very important.
Right.
It's just like your natural annual health screening, you should have a brain screening too.
Right. How long does it take?
It's about 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It's very short. It's a short test that looks at thinking, judgment, memory, all of those kind of components that are part of the dementia diagnosis. But even more important than that, if you see that there's a deficit and you go to your physician and unfortunately there is some form of diagnosis that is not pharmacologically managed or reversible, it is a dementia, it allows that person to get things in place.
Right.
It allows them to contact support systems, because there are a great number of support systems. It allows you to get your orders in affair, your medical information, your power of attorney if you don't already have that. So you can prepare and be aware of what's to come and how to handle it. And the earlier the detection, the better, because you can, with some forms of dementia or memory loss, even if it's not related to a dementia, you can learn tactics or alternate ways of doing things. And we want to teach you that. The speech language pathologist can teach you that before your memory is so impaired that you can't relearn new things. So sometimes the physician may just say, oh, well, this might be just a slight decline. Let's have you see the speech pathologist, and she can do a more formal testing and see what kind of things, alternate things she can teach you to help prevent any further loss.
And with the screening, it does not cost anything to have it be screened? It's
absolutely,
free.
it's free. We will take walk-ins if we have space, but I recommend highly that you call and make an appointment.
Okay.
It's 5 days, but it's limited time, but we've already pretty much booked for that Monday, so we do have Tuesday through Friday available. So it is a good idea to just to make sure that you're seen.
Yes, and to get checked out, see where you are in regards to it, make some preparations if you need to start doing that, and to be able to track it from year to year.
Absolutely.
I know there's a lot of people here who have gone through the screening, and they've said, I've maintained, but then I've become more active, or I read more, or I'm more social than I used to be in regards to that.
Right. So it's not, it's the Alzheimer's Foundation wants to bring an awareness of what dementia is, what Alzheimer's is, and how to destigmatize dementia.
Right,
It's not something to be ashamed of. It's something that we need to deal with. And the earlier we find something, the better off you are.
Right.
And there are educational materials that we will have available for residents. So if they don't have an appointment, they just want to stop by, they can pick up the educational materials as well.
That's great. So they need to call physical therapy, rehab, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the number now.
Oh my gosh, you visited us so many
I know,
times.
I know.
I would think you had that number down pat. It's 604-4684 or 703-923-4684.
Okay, and make the appointment.
Make the appointment.
Okay, first week of December, first 7 days of December.
November.
I see December. Oh
You
boy.
did.
Oh, I am great with dates around here recently. Yeah, November 2nd through the 6th, as far as getting the appointment, going down, getting screened.
Correct.
All right, very good, Nikki. Anything else that you'd like to share with us?
No, just make that appointment. Brain health is just as important as your physical health.
Okay, I can guarantee you I'll be down there.
Perfect.
All right, and I hope everybody else will be too. Thank you very much for staying with us this morning, and don't go away. We've got some other things coming up.